Hi everyone. I thought of making a video on NAC OSCE. This is going to be primarily an orientation session to tell you what the exam is, what to expect from the exam, and what is the essentially the makeup of the exam. So NAC usually stands for National Assessment Collaboration, and OSCE is Objective Structured Clinical Examination. This is a practical in-person exam, and it is essentially similar to a Viva Voce or a clinical skill exam. So this is similar to like USMLE Step 2 CS, which earlier was and now has been scratched. I've taken screenshots from official website of Medical Council of Canada to tell you the exact information about this exam. This is a half day OSCE exam, and the exam is held twice in a year. One is a spring session and one is a fall session. For this exam, a candidate rotates through 12 stations. Two of these are pilot stations that do not contribute towards your final score. Each station is 11 minutes long, and there's a 2-minute break between the station. When you enter the room, there'll be a brief clinical problem that will be written outside, and it'll outline all the tasks that you need to perform. And there'll be a one standardized participant which will act as a patient, and a physical examiner who will be evaluating you and giving you the score. The exam tests your knowledge, skill, and attitude that are essential for entering into a postgraduate training in Canada. It is an absolute necessity for international medical graduates to take this exam to apply for Canadian residency matching service. This exam usually is composed of these subjects that you see on the screen. These are essentially last prof or a final prof subjects, which comprise of medicine, surgery, OB-GYN, pediatrics, psychiatry, preventive health, or public health. So there are different competencies on which you are checked and evaluated in the exam. The first being, how well do you take the history? What is your diagnosis? How well do you answer the questions related to management or treatment of the condition that is asked in the exam? What are your communication skills? Are you essentially a doctor they're looking for to incorporate into Canadian healthcare system or not? How well do you do physical examination? What are the investigations you'll order or data interpretation? For example, they can give you an ECG or a medicine chart or an X-ray and ask to interpret that thing. Eligibility requirements, these are almost essential to almost essentially similar to what are the eligibility requirements for QE1. You must be a graduate or a student who is expected to complete a medical degree requirement within 12 months of the date of the exam. Your medical school should be recognized by World Directory of Medical Schools, or it can be a US School of Osteopathic Medicine. And this exam is important because you can take this exam in a maximum of 3 times, regardless of if you've passed or failed this exam. So, say a person A has given the exam and he did not pass, he can take the exam again. But there is a catch. He cannot take the exam in the next session, which means that if he gave the exam in spring session and unfortunately he failed, he cannot give it in the fall session of the same year, but he has to wait for the next year to schedule his exam. And again, you can't retake the exam if you've passed and you want to improve your score, or if you've failed you want to get a pass, you can take this exam, but the most recent score will be counted towards your final score. So now there are upcoming NAC exams, which is in the spring cycle, which is happening on May 3rd. These are the centers that are listed. The fall session will include 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, which will be September 20th and 21st. And these will be the following exam centers. So right now the applications have been closed for the spring session. It was opened on December 11th and it has closed on Jan 7th. All the important dates are here. The exam is pretty expensive, but you may be offered a partial refund with a deadline. So considerations, the exam happens in English or French, and you'll be asked to select the language on your Physicians Apply account once you register for the exam. There'll be a question if the MCC is not able to accommodate your exam station preferences. They will ask you to choose one of these exam centers that is available. So you'll have to agree or not to agree with what the choices they give you. You will have an access to physiciansapply.ca where there'll be examinations, and at the left side of the panel you'll see the current examination panel, and your exam choices can be recorded there, exam center choices. Um, Approximately 6 weeks before the exam, you will receive a message with instructions on what all is expected out of you. You'll receive an entrance card package, which will have your candidate code, which will have all the instructions related to the exam, where your center is, what time you're supposed to apply, come there, what things you're supposed to carry to the exam center. So essentially, you are going to be there as a doctor. So you need to have your white coat, you need to have your stethoscope, and a printed copy of entrance card. Uh, Again, you will have to sign that candidate confidentiality agreement, and it is around 4 to 5 hours exam where you have to reach on time, obviously, and you have to register, and after that you will be allotted your stations and the exam starts. So there is a confidentiality clause. We are not supposed to reveal any examination material or content, and Medical Council of Canada strictly prohibits against that. So essentially what exam pattern is that after registration, you will be asked to rotate from one room to another. There'll be 12 stations, essentially 12 rooms. There'll be a sticker outside the room which will tell you about the task, that is the task that you are supposed to perform, the brief patient history, any clinical examination, or the relevant questions that you have to perform in that station. And then after that, the exam starts. After 8 minutes, there is a buzzer that rings that tells you that there are 3 minutes left, and after that, there is a buzzer that tells you that this is the end of the station. So in the exam station, you may have to perform one or more of the following. It can be eliciting a history, conducting a focused relevant physical examination, resolving a patient problem, counseling a patient or family member, answering questions, and summarize and presenting the findings to the examiner, and then read or kind of deduce what your interpretation is from the chart, test results, medication listing, etc. This exam result, once you pass the exam, this is valid lifelong. There is no time restrictions till the time that it is valid. These exams are scored in different ways. I gave my exam in 2021, and at that time, we had a score which was like a superior performance, and I think 1300 something was a pass score. I ended up getting a superior performance. But nowadays, the exam setting has changed. The exam scoring system has changed. And nowadays, there is a scale of 500 to 700 with a pass score of 577. And again, there are two stations amongst those 12 stations which are not counted, but you will not know which one. So they will score you and assess you on the basis of how well did you communicate with the patient, how well did you manage the patient's problem, and what was your assessment and diagnosis regarding the same. So I want to bring your attention towards this exam. It's a very, very expensive exam. So my suggestion is do not book the exam just to see if kind of like the exam, or just to get a feeler about the exam, because it's a pretty important exam. The first thing is that you should be sure that you are prepared to take this exam and your preparation is spot on, because again, you should give it your best shot, and the first shot is always the best shot. So the reasons to take this exam is obvious. This exam is pretty expensive. It is very highly weighed on CAMS match. Match chances increase significantly after your superior performance. It can be tricky because the exam pattern is unknown. One may feel anxious about an exam station, but it's very doable if you plan and prepare well. Some of the preparation strategies that I want to highlight are that you should know the exam pattern inside out. You should know that a component of fear and unknown cases are integral to this exam. There may be a case that you didn't practice or you didn't know and it came out of blue, but this is an expected thing. Master the history taking and communication skills, and I cannot emphasize enough on this fact. Practice, practice, practice. This is like the mantra to acing this exam. If you can practice with your family members, you can practice with yourself, seeing in the mirror, and then decide that is this kind of a doctor I want to be like, or like if I'm a patient, is this a kind of a doctor I want to be. So have faith in your preparation and practice. So I believe in a quote that if you want to do it, you'll put your hard work and effort in it. If you do not want to do it, you'll find a befitting excuse for it. A brief history about myself. I've already introduced myself on the channel, but just going briefly through who I am. I'm an international medical graduate and I was a pathologist in India. I did my residency from Christian Medical College and did my fellowship from Tata Memorial in Mumbai. I migrated to Canada in March 2020. It was brink of COVID and I decided to give it my best shot and finish both United States and Canadian licensing exams in year 2021. I ended up getting 14 interviews from US and 8 in Canada. Minded these were all for pathology residency and IMG eligible seats in a CAMS match. I made a decision to move to US for my specialization and I matched in US before Canada. So I made a decision to go here in US and right now I'm pursuing my residency which is supposed to finish in 26 and I've secured a fellowship in an Ivy League institution and I'm already getting job offers for both the countries. So the exams that I aced in 1 year with the job and research projects are all these on the screen. Having said that, I just want to tell you all who are wanting to take that leap of faith that it is very much doable if you plan and execute your strategy properly. It's not tough. I have done it within a year and it is completely doable. For sure, that year was very hard for me. It was full of challenges. But now, when I look back, I realize that yes, I made a great decision to finish these exams in one shot. If you think that you want to take a 5 year plan to finish this exam, I'd probably discourage you to do so because the more time you take, the more competition you are adding to the pool. That's my personal opinion. But the problems that I faced in Canada were like a lack of genuine guidance you get from people. Everyone pushes you down. There is no motivation or inspiration, and there are extremely high cost of courses. I did end up realizing that I didn't need all the expensive courses for my preparation. All I needed was self study and dedication and determination to finish the syllabus. There is no guidance on job, research, or CV development, and no observership of elective opportunities. I think I had a hard time at this time because I was in Canada during COVID, and that is why there were very less elective opportunities and they were discouraging people from coming to hospitals. Again, it's always a multitask to manage home, family, and career along with. This is the reason why I started my channel, which is a YouTube channel, this one in on what you're watching this video. And I also started my Telegram group, which is has a lot of members now, and I mentor and guide IMGs on phone calls on appointment as and when my residency schedule permits. At the end, I just want to tell you that focus on this preparation and give the exam only and only you are doubly sure that you are able to take this exam because it's an important exam and an expensive one. And I sign off with this quote, which is success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, and sacrifice. And most of all, love what you are doing or learning to do. So, peace off, and I'll be back with another video. Thank you.